Like, it freaked me out.
I'm gonna keep it real with you.
How we looking? Alright, hey YouTube, what is up? It is Bri Hall back at you with a Halloween video, okay? Because you guys, I did a poll on my channel. Make sure you stay on the feed so you can see like polls and pictures and in between kind of stuff I post for you guys. But I did a poll because y'all really wanted some paranormal story time. So I was like, alright, I had to muster up the courage to tell this story. Because the story I'll be telling today is about the time that there was a ghost in my apartment. I burned incense in here before this video, y'all. Like, before I start the video too, this was my first time trying the whole frontal thing. So, you know, cut me up, let me know how I did. I don't know, like, but cut your girl some slack because it's the first time. So that's the only reason I ain't filming a tutorial, because I feel like to do a tutorial, I kind of got to know the hacks and all the little, I gotta know what I'm doing, you feel me? So I'm still learning, so I decided to just go ahead and try it off camera. But anyway, so this story takes place in 2016, okay? Literally, this story freaked me out so much, y'all, that when it happened, I literally didn't tell my mom for 2 months. Me and my mom were like this, yo, like we talk about everything. Didn't tell her, didn't talk about it, didn't tell my roommates for a few days. Like, it freaked me out. Basically, this happened my senior year of college. I was living with my roommates. I'm gonna say their real names, Jesse and Manny, and they were just the greatest, and they still are. Basically, we were in co-ed housing because long story short, it's another story for another day, but your girl had to do some last minute housing changes because institutions are crazy, okay? Like, these, another story, another day. But anyway, so I was living with Jesse and Manny, and I had a single room at the time. And because nobody had fulfilled this slot, I actually had the handicap room in the back of the apartment. So it was a really long, spacious room. By the way, all my story times 100% true. There are people to verify every single detail, not exaggerated. They're all true. And I was really excited because this was my first time living in an apartment on campus. Before I was like an RA, I needed the money, and I was also in dorms a lot for most of college. So I finally was able to just have this apartment. It was a new chapter for me. And I was really excited. But this particular time, things changed a bit. And here's how. For those of you who know, I'm Jamaican. I'm a black woman. I have a strong intuition, spiritual intuition, whatever you want to call it. But your girl really in touch with spirituality, the spiritual realm, whatever you like to call it. And something that I've noticed over the course of years is basically if I'm in a low point, you know what I mean, or vibrating at a really low energy, or going through something really traumatic or difficult in life, that's when I experience the most like negative spiritual energy, if that makes sense. And I feel like your spirit, when you're vibrating on a low frequency, is really vulnerable to not only like demonic or terrible spirits, but it's also like vulnerable to diseases, it's vulnerable to sickness, all that stuff. I experience weird stuff all the time. If you've seen on my channel, literally sometimes it gets caught on camera when weird things happen. In one of my previous videos, y'all saw I was just talking normally and a closed door just like gently swung open. So I between my that's January when I got sick, I realized that like everything I'm predisposed to issue my kidneys and stuff like that. That just supercharged my desire to be healthier, even though I already the door in the background just opened. A little creepy. But yeah, that's gonna bother me. Hold on, guys. So stuff like that I've just been used to since I was a child. Like, I just be seeing and hearing weird stuff. I be having dreams that come true, like all that stuff. It was one night I was just chilling, a little bit sleep deprived. I had some work to get done. I was procrastinating a little bit. I was laying in my bed. Okay, so the way it was set up was my bed was right here. Bed was right here. The door was right here. I had my TV sitting on a dresser, like right in front of the bed. Senior year, I got really bold with like just distractions. I brought an Xbox to school and left that in my room. So I had Netflix, I had games, I had all that stuff. So people who didn't see me senior year, I was grinding for YouTube and I was playing Xbox in my room. That's all I did. And I was budgeting and doing all sorts of shit. I was laying down, right? And in my room, I, you know, had all the twinkle lights around, or like those LED lights. I had them lining my entire room so they would flash all day. Not all day, but like at night I'd throw them on and they would flash, you know, colors and stuff like that. So this particular night, I'm gonna lay the scene for you. I was laying in bed, and then basically Jesse and Manny were both in the kitchen, and they were, you know, laughing about something as usual. Like, us living together, we always had good times, bro. Like, that was one of the things that really made that apartment so special, was because we always just were, we were each other's rock, and had, each of us had our own special relationship with each other, and we were good as a group, so it was nice. But yeah, they were laughing in the kitchen, usual stuff. I'm watching Grey's Anatomy because I started binge watching that senior year. You know how you mentally decide like you're gonna let yourself drift into a nap, but you know you still have work and things to do, but you're not gonna set an alarm because you like trust yourself, even though that's silly, because like now that I'm an adult, I'm like, no, I plan. I can't be just taking risks on my nap schedule because I'm gonna miss something important. I'm just sitting there on my pillow, just like, oh. Okay, so I start to doze off, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if you guys know what sleep paralysis is, but sleep paralysis is when you're in between a state of sleep and consciousness. When you're in REM sleep, your body paralyzes itself so that you don't act out your dreams. But sometimes you might wake up prior to your body coming out of that state of being paralyzed, and that's what sleep paralysis is you're awake but your body is still paralyzed. So I don't know how long I've been asleep or what have you, but I basically like open my eyes and I'm just like, y'all, this is the freakiest thing ever. So it was like my apartment, but in a different dimension. I don't want to call it hell. I don't want to call it like all of that, but it was something off about it, okay? Just set the scene for you. Remember, my TV is blaring Grey's Anatomy. I've got twinkle lights on. I've got a computer on my desk, you know what I mean? Like, I've got a lot of light in my room going on at the moment. You know, the hallway light is on, the kitchen light's on. Jesse and Manny are talking in the kitchen and laughing. Dead silence. When I say it was silent, okay? My twinkle lights were off. Everything was dark. I looked to the right, and underneath the sliver of the door, it was pitch black. Jesse and Manny weren't laughing. I'm literally getting chills right now, y'all. Like, I'm getting chills. Okay, Jesse and Manny weren't talking. Like, you could just tell they weren't there. And it was an exact replica of our apartment, but just in a different place. Dark in my room, but it was like a purple tint to everything, if that makes sense, like a dark plum tint. So it was like if you were to have night vision and like, but instead of green it was purple, right? That's how everything looked. Oh my god, I'm really getting chills. I hear a slight wait, let me do the sound better. And it's a literal Bri sound, and of course at this point I know I have sleep paralysis because I cannot move my body. The only thing that I can move is my eyes, and I look to where the Bri sound is coming from, and mind you, in this other dimension or whatever, my TV is pitch black, so it's just this one TV that's blocking my view. But I had two windows. I had one by my bed and one by like the TV's right here. I have one right here and one by my bed. I noticed that in this dimension, wherever I am, the window is open, right? And there's no blinds on the window, no nothing. Instead, I don't even know if there's glass on the window. It's just a sheer white curtain. And if anybody's good at interpreting, I don't want to call this a dream because it felt so real, but if you're good at interpreting dreams or symbolism, please tell me what a sheer white curtain means, because literally it appears in all my nightmares and I just need to know. Your girl needs to know. The sheer white curtain is blowing on the window, and the window is very visibly open, and it's like pitch black night, and I'm on a college campus. It could be 4 in the morning. You gonna hear, you know, a group of guys walking past your room laughing like, haha, bro, like all that. You're gonna hear a lot of noise outside, regardless, you know what I mean, of what time it is. Dead silence, y'all. So then all of a sudden I'm focused on the window, and I'm like, okay. And I see a hard sole shoe. I'm gonna put a picture of what the shoe looked like right here. I see a hard sole shoe and a black pant leg step through the window. One leg steps in. And then another leg steps in. But it's almost like my field of view is limited because the TV is there and it's blocking, you know what I mean? And then I just see this enormously tall figure, almost touching the ceiling, walking. And then by this point, it stops as soon as it gets in the window. And then it starts walking around the TV. Y'all, I wasn't freaked out yet. And here's why. I told you I'm used to spiritual things happening. And previously, that exactly like a year prior to this, you know what I mean? Because this happened in the winter of 2016, and the winter of 2015, I lost a very close friend of mine, and I had a few spiritual encounters that were linked to that friend. But I don't know if y'all have ever experienced this, or anyone who's very spiritually intuitive. I can tell when someone who has passed away fully passes on, if that makes sense. Like sometimes I feel like they linger in this world and then they fully go to the other side, you know what I mean? And that friend, by this point, I already knew they fully had passed on. So, but my mind trying to make sense of it and say, hey, Bri, maybe it's not as scary as it seems. I literally was like, maybe it's my friend. Maybe that's who this is. You know what I mean? Because I knew it wasn't human. I knew it wasn't like of that form, you know what I mean? I could tell it was a spirit of some sort. And then all I hear is the little, wait, where's my Morphe palette? All I hear is, and it's walking towards my bed. And my field of view is very limited, so I'm just looking straight, because at this point my eyes feel like they can't even move, but I can hear it walking, walking towards my bed, very slowly too. The figure moved so slow. And then all of a sudden, get the Morphe again, all of a sudden it's like, and then it just stops next to my bed, and I could tell that it's standing right there looking at me. And then suddenly I try to move my eyes. Since my mouth couldn't move, it's like my thoughts could be heard out loud, if that makes sense. So literally I thought the name of my friend out, and I heard it out loud. I heard my thought. And then I hear the most evil, demonic, awful, scary laugh exude from this figure. And it wasn't even like it came from a mouth. It's like it echoed the walls of the room. And I literally went into full on panic. I was trying to scream, trying to move my fingers, like I was shaking. I was trying to wake myself up. I'm like, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Like I was trying, y'all. But then literally I look up, I get my eyes to look up, and I look at the figure as I'm already panicked. I'm at like on the scale of panic, because of that laugh, I was already at like a 5.5, 6 out of 10 on the panic scale. I looked up, and this thing had literally was wearing a cloak. So it was like dress pants, hard sole black shoes, almost like a tux kind of thing, but over top of it was a black cloak, kind of like a fencing outfit, y'all. So it looked like, have you ever seen like those fencing masks, but it was all black, and it had a net over its face covering it. And when I saw what this thing looked like, y'all, I was like, ah! I just started like screaming for dear life. I was like, my level of panic goes from a 5.5 to a 6 to a effing 13 out of 10, okay? I started scream, like in my head I'm screaming and I can hear it, but my mouth is like unable to move. My mouth just feels like it's trembling, but it can't open. And the figure just keeps laughing and laughing, and it just, the energy from the laugh like almost took over. Like I could feel it through my entire body, like it was an earthquake or something. It was awful, y'all. And then finally I'm like, oh my god, I'm screaming, panicking, I'm panicking. Then all of a sudden, literally, I swing up. Like, I literally sit up immediately out of the bed and literally I come out of this world, whatever this is, out of the sleep paralysis, whatever you want to call it. The way I sat up and the way that a scream escaped me as if I had been drowning. Like, you know, if you in the pool, you accidentally breathe in water for like a second, then the sound of like, like that's literally how it was. It was literally like a gasp into a scream that literally happened. And it literally felt like there was a frog in my throat, like the old expression, like as soon as I sat up, it's like my body just swung up. My scream finally escaped, which told me I really was trying to scream that entire time. It was like I just literally, like, I made sure all my limbs was working. I hopped out my bed and I just burst the door open. And luckily Jesse and Manny did not hear the scream too well, you know what I mean? Because like our doors were pretty thick, you know? But literally, and they were both down the hall and in the kitchen. So I think if Manny had been in his room or something, or someone had been in the bathroom, they would have easily heard that. But literally when I woke up, here's the creepy thing, y'all. Grey's Anatomy is still playing. Nothing has changed. My twinkle lights are still twinkling in the room. The window is closed. And you know what's weird? This was the first room I actually did put a sheer curtain on the window. I have this sheer curtain in so many dreams, but it's like, even if that curtain doesn't exist in that place where the dream takes place. Everything was still normal. Jesse and Manny were still laughing. I don't know how much time actually passed in real time because I was still so freaked out by what had happened that like thinking to check the time and all that other stuff just went over my head. I was just so freaking, I was shook, y'all. I was so shook. You know what I did immediately after that? I prayed, bro. I literally, as soon as that hit, I was like, I literally had to, because I was like, that, whatever that was dark-ish, and I don't want no parts of it. Even with me being used to like spiritual stuff happening, like we all have our limits, you feel me? We all have like that wall, where that boundary where you're like, okay, it's a little too much for me, okay? Like I'm usually pretty chill, pretty laid back, but that was a little much. So yeah, and that's what happened. And then I ended up telling my roommates like 2 days later, and then I had actually told my mom this story like 2 months after it happened, because I was so freaked out. I ended up literally sleeping with my actual physical light on. I know it's not good for energy, but the light that what I experienced wasn't good for my energy. Thankfully, this was one of the darkest ones, but I have plenty of other paranormal stories where I predicted things, like all sorts of stuff. I usually stray away from talking about stuff like that because you don't want to freak people out. Like a lot of people live like, if you think about life like the Matrix, a lot of people live in that matrix, that bubble of life, that happy, safe kind of box, you feel me? And then when you step out of that box, people start being like, no, like it's just uncomfortable for them. So, but for me personally, that's a low-key reality of what I experience all the time. So I like when I meet people in my daily life, like friends, etc., family, who I can just tell. It's interesting. It's like when I meet someone, I can just tell if they're comfortable with that subject matter or not. I believe firmly there's a lot beyond our control. We are only human beings, and who am I to say there's no spiritual realm? Like who's anyone else to say that? You know, so All I'm saying is I stay prayed up. Make sure that I do things to keep my vibrations as high as possible, even when I'm like going through a depression or going through sadness or something that just makes me feel sad. Like, I gotta keep that energy up, because these ghosts, they don't want this right now. They don't want this, y'all. They don't want this. Alright, y'all. So, you know, it's October, Halloween month, breast cancer awareness month. If you guys like this paranormal story time, get this video to like, let's say get this video to 5,000 likes. If this video gets to 5,000 likes, I will do a part 2 about some other paranormal experience that I've had in my life. And if you guys are really interested in any other types of story time topics, like you seem to really love story times when I tell you about my weird, crazy life, like, I don't gotta make nothing up, y'all. Like, this shit real. Like, my life is crazy. Somebody compared my life to a Tyler Perry movie, and I said, no offense taken. Stay prayed up, or stay away from, just stay prayed up, please. Peace out.